The ranking member of the full committee, Dr. Foxx, recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, your written testimony did not mention the word inflation, but I will. On Friday, the Bureau of Labor Statistics had bad news for consumers and retirees, but it confirmed what consumers are already feeling. Over the last 12 months, inflation increased 8.6%, the largest 12-month increase in more than 40 years. Energy prices are up 34.6%, food prices are up 10.1%, shelter prices up 5.5%, the price of new vehicles up 12.6%, and the price of used cars and trucks up 16.1%. With inflation running rampant and squeezing families, workers, small businesses, and retirees, what is DOL doing to ensure new regulations and the large increase in spending it is requesting will not exacerbate inflation?
Thank you, Ranking Member Foxx. There's no question that inflation is causing pain for families in America. And that's why the President certainly has been very focused on lowering the costs that families face and reduce the federal deficit as well. We're making real progress, but quite honestly, the inflation issue that we're dealing with in the United States of America is not just being dealt with in the United States of America, it's being dealt with all across the globe. What we're doing what I'm doing at the Department of Labor is working number one, on the supply chain issues to get more goods and services into our country. Part of the inflation is due to lack of goods and supplies coming into this country in the early days of the pandemic. We're working with across agency lines to bring the cost of inflation down. I think that we can't ignore the fact that inflation was not caused by President Joe Biden. The inflation was not caused by the American Rescue Plan, and the inflation will not be exacerbated by making other investments in job training, workforce development, worker protections. What we have to do, we have a war in Ukraine, and we're still dealing with a global pandemic.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I think we strongly disagree on the fact that this is not being caused by the Biden administration and the American Rescue Plan. Definitely those are the issues. Even Democrats are saying that. Mr. Secretary, on October 27, you participated in strike activity at Kellogg's plant in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Your one-sided participation on behalf of the union in this strike was inappropriate. As Secretary of Labor, you have an obligation to demonstrate impartiality in both appearance and in form. I've twice written to you about this matter and have yet to receive a written response. I'll ask you again, did you seek ethics advice from DOL's attorney prior to your visit to Kellogg plant, yes or no?
Well, I will tell you, I did go out to the Kellogg to talk to the workers. I went out there to try and be helpful.
Mr. Secretary,
and
did you seek attorney's advice?
Of course I did.
That's all I need to know.
Of course I did.
Okay, and so will you provide me any written guidance or advice you received on the legality of this visit or your ethical obligations related to the visit?
I'll also give you information on the conversation I had with the CEO of Kellogg last week.
Okay. Will you commit to respond comprehensively in writing all the questions in my previous 2 letters by the end of this week?
I don't know what the questions are in your letter.
Okay, we've given them to you. We can send it again.
Okay, thank you.
The Office of Secretary General published a report earlier this year that reviewed the Education and Training Administration spending over the past 10 years and found that upwards of $489 billion in grant funds intended for workforce development were inefficiently used. The OIG expressed 3 ongoing areas of concern in how ETA is handling taxpayer dollars, including how the agency is awarding grants, reviewing grantees' use of funds, and measuring grantee performance. Any misuse of hard-earned taxpayer dollars is always unacceptable. We're in the middle of job crisis, and we must ensure money is being put to its proper use so that we can close the skills gap and get Americans back to work. What steps is ETA taking to ensure grant applicants' proposals meet all program solicitation requirements?
Yeah, I can't speak to what happened 8.5 years ago as far as the grants, but I'll look into that for you and get back to you on that. But I can tell you our team at ETA is working extremely hard to make sure that we're getting as many grant applications through the process and we're getting the funding to those applicants, because right now, this moment in time, as you alluded to in your opening statement.
But what we need to know is that the money is being used for their intended purposes. Getting the money out the door is one thing. but getting accountability is even more
I was going
important.
to get there. My point is we make sure we follow up with the grant applicants. That's something that I've demanded responses from my team to make sure that every dollar that we're spending of taxpayers' dollars in America is getting spent in the proper way.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I yield back.